everyone. Thank you for coming to our presentation today. My name is Tracy Salter and I am the Program Manager for the Applied Sciences programs here at RMIT University. I will be presenting with you today with my wonderful Program Coordinator, Roha Kwazi, and she looks after all of our students and our staff, and she will be presenting a bit later. Today we're going to talk to you about the programs that we offer in the Applied Sciences program. We have the Certificate 4 in Laboratory Techniques, the Diploma of Laboratory Technology, and the Associate Degree in Applied Science. We also offer a Certificate 3 in Science, which is a bridging program which I will tell you about later as well. These programs are very popular and the students really enjoy coming to us and learning lots of practical skills, and we make them as industry relevant as we possibly can, and they get to do real work experience, which we'll discuss later as well, which helps to kickstart their careers. Next slide, please. So this is what we're going to be talking about. So the Certificate 4 in Laboratory Techniques, the Diploma of Laboratory Technology, and the Associate Degree in Applied Science. Next slide, please. So we're just going to run through our acknowledgement of country. RMIT University acknowledges the people of the Woi Wurrung and Boon Wurrung language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nation, on whose unceded lands we conduct the business of the university. RMIT University respectfully acknowledges their ancestors and elders past and present. RMIT also acknowledges the traditional custodians and their ancestors of the lands and waters across Australia where we conduct our business. Next slide, please. Our commitment to reconciliation. RMIT is committed to redefining its relationship in working with and supporting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders' self-determination. The university's goal is to achieve lasting transformation by maturing its values, culture, policy and structures in a way that embeds reconciliation in everything we do. In line with the principles of Bunjil, we are changing our ways of knowing, working and being to support sustainable reconciliation and activate our relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous staff, students and community. Next slide, please. As we're going through our slides, our presentation pack, if you have any questions, please just type them in our chat. We've got 3 of our teachers who are experts in their fields who are more than happy to answer any of your questions. And if we have time at the end of the session, we'll answer some of your questions live. Okay, so let's just first of all talk about the Certificate 4 in Laboratory Techniques. It consists of 15 courses in total and it lasts for 1 full year. It's delivered at the City campus in Building 51, which is on the corner of Victoria and Cardigan Streets. And it's a guaranteed pathway to the Diploma of Laboratory Technology. In fact, it's the only way to get to the Diploma of Laboratory Technology. Okay, the Diploma of Laboratory Technology also has 15 courses in total, although 6 of those courses will be credit transfers from the Certificate 4, and it is 1 year in duration full time. You can do both of these programs as a part-time student if that's your preference, but clearly that will take you longer if you decide to go with the part-time option. The Diploma of Laboratory Technology has guaranteed pathways into multiple bachelor programs here at RMIT, and I'll go through those in more detail a bit later as well. And in those bachelor programs, you're entitled to 12 months worth of credits, which helps to shorten the duration of the bachelor program. We also offer 80 hours of work placement in industry relevant laboratories, and it's delivered at the City campus on the building in Building 51, corner Victoria and Cardigan Streets. Next slide, please. So here are our entry requirements. So to get into the Certificate 4, you need to have finished your Year 12, but there's no ATAR required. And there's no actual prerequisites. However, preference is given to students who've studied Year 12 chemistry or Year 12 biology, as it has quite a strong science content. So if you have that background, it will help you. If you don't have any of that sort of sciencey background, we can offer you the Certificate 3 in Science to sort of bridge the gap between what you've studied already and what you're hoping to do in the science programs. And the Certificate 3 in Science is a 6-month preparation program. For the Diploma of Laboratory Technology, again, same thing, no ATAR requirement, but you must have successfully completed the Certificate 4 in Laboratory Techniques. So this is actually a training package requirement. It's not an RMIT requirement, and it wouldn't matter which provider you went to do your Diploma of Laboratory Technology. They would all say the same thing. You must have successfully completed your Certificate 4 first. Preference obviously is given to those who've done the Certificate 4 with us, and the reason for that is that within our training package there are a lot of prerequisite requirements, not just for the diploma but for the actual courses within the diploma. And if you haven't done the same electives as our students, that could affect your duration of your actual program. So you just need to be aware of that. If you go through the Cert 4 here with us, then you go straight into the diploma without any problems. But if you come from an external provider, we would need to look at your transcript and make sure you have met the prerequisite requirements for our electives. Next slide, please. So these are our pathways. We've actually got 6 in total that you can see. Well, 4 of them are listed here, 2 are on the next slide. So we have guaranteed pathways into Bachelor of Biomedical Sciences, Pharmaceutical Sciences, Biological Sciences and Biotechnology. And all of those take 4 years. You do 1 year of your Certificate 4, 1 year of your diploma, and then with the credits that you get from the diploma and the Certificate 4, that will just leave you with 2 years of the actual bachelor program. So in total, it's 4 years. Okay, next slide, please. And these are the other 2. So we also have the 4-year pathway into the Applied Sciences Bachelor. And then the one that is different but is extremely popular is the Bachelor of Biomedical Science with the Specialist of Laboratory Medicine. And that one is 1 year Certificate 4, 1 year diploma, and then 3 years of the actual bachelor, which means it takes a total of 5 years for that pathway. Next slide, please. So this is our program structure, just to give you a bit of an idea of the subjects that we study within our programs. So going across the top, the Certificate 4, you have perform chemical tests, biological principles, process and interpret data, which is a lot of statistics, anatomy and physiology, lab application software, OH&S and calibration of equipment, microscopic and aseptic techniques, receiving samples, prepare, standardise and use solutions, communications and environmental sustainability, and make a presentation. In the diploma, we actually have the microbiology, molecular biology, analyse data, histology, hematology, immunohematology, chemical pathology and the placement unit. And we also have the choice of the tissue and cell culture. Next slide, please. So this is some of our students in one of our labs who are looking at blood cells in doing hematology down the microscope. So I'm going to now hand you over to Roja, who will be talking about the Associate Degree in Applied Science. Thank you, Roja.
Thank you, Tracy. Hello, my name is Roja Kazi, and I'm the Program Coordinator of the Applied Sciences programs here at RMIT University. Today, I'm going to tell you about the Associate Degree in Applied Sciences program. Just before I start, as Tracy said before, if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat and our expert teachers panel will answer them for you. Also, we'll try to answer some at the end of the presentation if we do get some time. Next slide, please. So the Associate Degree in Applied Science is a 2-year full-time program. As Tracy was mentioning, you can study this program also part-time, but of course the duration of program would be longer if you choose to study part-time, but you got the option there as well. We have got 16 courses in total. You do 4 courses each semester. This program is also offered in the city campus in Building 51, which is at the corner of Victoria and Cardigan Street. The associate degree in applied science is also guaranteed pathway into multiple bachelor's programs, and we are going to talk about that in another slide later. You are entitled to 18 months worth of credit if you do this program and then move on to the bachelor's. So of course, it shortens your bachelor program after that. We also have the work placement unit where you do minimum 80 hours of work placement at a relevant industry. We do have the state-of-the-art laboratory facilities here. We emphasize a lot on our practical skills to make sure that our students are work ready when they finish the program. Next slide, please. Let's look at the entry requirement. So the ATER for this year was 46.9. The prerequisites, you need to have any VC English with study score of at least 20 or at least 25 in EAL. You also have to have at least one VC Maths with a study score of at least 20. We do prefer the students if they have done chemistry or biology in their VC. It's not a prerequisite though, but as Tracy was saying, all the science programs are quite science focused. So it will be good to have some basic backgrounds in the chemistry and biology. Next slide, please. Let's look at some pathways. So the first two are Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences and Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology. Both of them have 3.5 years duration, but if you complete the associate degree in applied science for 2 years, then you will take a further 1.5 years to complete either of the bachelors. Next slide, please. The next two pathways are Bachelor of Biomedical Science and Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science. Again, both these programs are 4 years of duration in total. So after completion of 2 years of associate degree in applied science, you would take further 2 years to complete your bachelor program. Next slide, please. Our last two pathways, which are quite popular, especially with the current pandemic. The first one is Bachelor of Biomedical Science Laboratory Medicine. So after 2 years of associate degree in applied science, you take 2.5 years to complete the laboratory medicine bachelor's. And the last one, which is Bachelor of Pharmacy, after 2 years of completion associate degree, you will take 3.5 years. This takes a bit longer because this particular program gives you actually 12 months worth of credit, not 18 months. So you get 8 course credits for Bachelor of Pharmacy. It's becoming very popular nowadays, and this is the only pathway to the bachelor program. All the other pathways that you have seen, the other 5 pathways, you can come via the Diploma of Laboratory Technologies, but to go to the pharmacy, you have to do the associate degree in applied science. Next slide, please. So let's look at our course structure. So as we said before, there are 4 courses per semester. In year 1, you do the chemistry, the biology, scientific research skills, anatomy and physiology. In semester 2, we do biochemical principles, health and nutrition, introduction to genetics and microbiology, and introduction to medical science. Just to tell you here, if you haven't done chemistry and biology before, this is where you actually get the fundamentals. So you will not miss out on anything. Okay, we'll prepare you from the very beginning. And then in year 2, you go and do the microbiology, cell biology and tissue culture, data analysis, which is our maths unit, molecular biology and genetics. And the final year of the program, in the second semester, you would do biochemistry, applied microbiology. Professional practice is the work placement unit, where you go and do the 80 hours of minimum 80 hours of placement in the industry. And then you do a uni elective. And we have got 2 electives to choose from. One is medicine, drugs and poisons, and the other one is essentials in healthcare practice. So if you want to do pharmacy, you need to do the healthcare practice elective. For other pathways, you can do the medicine, drugs and poisons. Also, to give you a bit of an idea about our classes, the classes are usually timetabled over 4 days a week. Each course have got a 2 hours tutorial or lecture class and a 3-hour lab session. And in the lab classes, students learn all the fundamentals and specialized lab techniques which are industry and research relevant, which makes our graduates the preferred choice in the workplace. Next slide, please. All right, this is where I'm going to finish, and thanks for listening. I'll now hand you back to Tracy for the rest of the presentation.
Sorry, Roha. Thank you, Roha. I'm now going to talk to you about a few more features of our programs, and in particular, let's start with the facilities. So this is one of our labs with the microscopes. We also have a microbiology lab, chemistry labs, as well as that there are PC labs for you to work in and to learn your maths and your lab application software. We have quite a lot of different pieces of equipment, too many to list them all, but we have spectrophotometers, which helps you to find concentration of unknown solutions. We have the microtomes that we use in histology and medical science, which you get to thinly slice organs and look at those. And we also have the biosafety cabinet to isolate, purify and manipulate DNA. And that's just a few features that we have in our laboratories. Next slide, please. So this is one of our students. She was an associate degree in applied science student from a few years ago. She went into food technology at another university. So, but anyway, this is a quote from her and what she said. And I think the main thing that I took from her statement is that how well the teachers did in preparing the students for the industry for work. And the skills that she's already gained made her look forward to her work placement and getting out into the workplace. And she thought it was a great start for her career. This is Sushma. Next slide, please. This is one of our diploma students who's actually in her final year of her Bachelor of Biomedical Science on a biotechnology. And she had a lot of really good things to say about our program, and in fact she said that the hands-on tools that she learnt in our program really helped her to succeed in her further studies in her bachelor program. And not just the lab skills, which we all like to talk about, but also her scientific writing skills, so that helped her there as well. And the techniques that she learned are relevant to many industries and scientific research, which we get to apply in real life thanks to the work placement that's part of the program. The teachers are very supportive, engaging and always available to clarify anything when needed. Okay, next slide, please. So these are some of our industry connections that we have and some of the places that our students have done placement at. Whether you do the diploma or the associate degree, you have a minimum of 10 days of placement. We help you find your placement so you're not left on your own, and we also do like job preparation and interview preparation and all that type of thing. If you have your own contacts, you can use those for your placement, but we are here to help you find placements as well. So some of the places, just to mention a few, are listed here, but anywhere where there's a laboratory basically is where you can do placement. So it could be a school, it could be a hospital, it could be somewhere like Melbourne Pathology where they're looking at samples, blood samples, urine samples, that type of thing. But yeah, this is just a few. So hospitals, CSIRO, brewery, who knew, Research Institute, Peter Mac, Cell Therapies, Epworth Hospital, just to name a few. Our students have gone here, there and everywhere. And it's actually quite common if our students do really well in placement that they could be offered a position in the same facility for work later on. Next slide, please. So career outcomes. So if you do the diploma and you finish your diploma and decide not to go on to do any further study, you will basically become a lab technician anywhere where there is a lab. And that's what your role will be. If you go on to do one of the pathways, you could end up involved in a laboratory medicine, in a pharmacy, biotechnology, lab technician across the board, medical research or biological research. If you look at what the students are doing here in the photo, they're in the microbiology lab and they were staining cells. So you can see the little plates where they were putting cells onto the plates and staining them, and then they were looking at those plates as their cells grew. Okay, next slide, please. This is another one of our alumni, Hamdi. She did the associate degree in applied science and she then went on and did the Bachelor of Biomedical Science. And as far as we know, she's doing her PhD, so she would be close to finishing her PhD at this stage. We're always very proud of our students who go through our pathways and end up in their bachelors, and quite a few of them end up in postgraduate as well. So we're always really excited when we hear stories like that. And the sorts of things that she was saying is that the smaller class sizes, so that is definitely a key point for us. We do have smaller class sizes than what you would have in the bachelor. And we do have a really strong emphasis on the practical application. So that's what Hamdi's talking about here. And you do spend hours in the lab applying what you're learning in your theory classes. And she also is talking about work placement, and she got to go at a skin pathology clinic. And she was able to apply what she'd learned and gauge what was needed of me in the real world. So it really is about preparing you for work and preparing you for further study. Next slide, please. So we have, these are our intake dates, our important dates. So we start our semester on the 7th of February next year, and that's for all of our programs. So associate degree, diploma, certificate 4 and certificate 3. And then semester 2 starts on the 4th of July 2022. We also have mid-year intakes for our certificate 4 and for our certificate 3. So you can join mid-year. We don't have a mid-year intake at this stage for the associate degree or the diploma, but that could change. See how we go. All right, next slide, please. So thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed our presentation. And make sure that you put any questions that you might have into the chat, and we'll have a quick look now to see whether we've got any questions that we can answer now. So, did we have any questions?
Yeah, I'm having a look. There was a question in an associate degree only if you can't get the ATER to get straight into the bachelor degree. So yes, as we said before, if you don't make the ATER requirements with the bachelors, you can take the pathway, and that is what the beauty is about the pathway programs. So you can get into the associate degree with a lower ATER requirement, and then the 6 pathways that you have seen, you can get into those 6 pathway programs after completing the associate degree. All right.
There actually is another pathway which we haven't mentioned, and that's the Certificate 4 in Tertiary Preparation, which is a 6-month program, and there's a science stream specifically for that. And that actually is a pathway into the associate degree as well. So if you wanted to go that way instead of through the Certificate 4 and diploma, it would be quicker. You just have to do the harder maths as the requirement to getting into the associate degree. So just to run through that again, your 2 choices are to go through the Certificate 4 in Laboratory Techniques and the diploma, or alternatively, you can go through the Certificate 4 in Tertiary Preparation with the science stream, do the harder maths. That goes for 6 months, and then you can go into the associate degree. So that's the quicker pathway. Although, I mean, yeah, that's the quicker pathway. Although if you wanted to start working as a laboratory technician, you might want to go the other way. Are there any other questions?
Penny has answered. There were 1 or 2 more. Penny has answered those questions already. But if anyone has any other questions, please put them in the chat and we are happy to answer them for you. So there was a question regarding placement. So Penny has answered that they were asking that do they do the placement as they're studying the class at the same time? And Penny wrote what we usually say, that we usually have got some days in the week which it is not, the class is not scheduled, you go to placement in that time, or you can do the placement during the term breaks, whatever suits you. We do like that.
I might just talk a little bit more about the timetable, because I know you talked about it for the associate degree in applied science, Roha, but for the certificate 4 and the diploma, you're also timetabled over 4 days, and you're really looking at between 18 to 20 contact hours per week for both programs, and for the associate degree, it's 16 to 18 contact hours per week. So it just depends on which program you decide to do. But we make sure that there's 1 day free for students to work or do whatever they need to do.
I'll answer one question now. Yuri asked that how do you deliver the certificate 4 of lab techniques currently? So during the COVID, we have flipped the TUTE and the lecture classes online, but we are going back to campus to do our essential laboratory activities. So we are getting permission from the government, exemptions, if we can call it, to go back to the labs, and all our students have not missed any of the lab classes face to face. We are conducting them during the lockdowns as well. All right. Tracy, there was a question from Selena. Do you want to answer that? She was asking, or Celine, I should say, would you recommend an applied science degree or a science degree majoring in chemistry to become a cosmetic chemist?
Oh, that's a really interesting one. What I would recommend you do is go to the presentations for those bachelor programs so that you can ask them specifically, as they are the experts in that type of thing. But I would imagine that either of those bachelors probably would be able to lead you into that area, but I would be recommending that you go to those presentations and get the information from the experts directly.
There's another question. Tracy, you may stay there. It says, are there any minimum maths requirement if we do Bachelor of Science directly?
Again, that's a question for the Bachelor of Science people. So we're just talking about the certificate for the diploma and the associate degree, which are pathway programs and vocational programs, so that if you wanted to start work as a lab technician, you could do so after the diploma or the associate degree. But specific questions about bachelor programs, I think you would need to speak to the people involved directly with those programs and go to the presentations. And if you just click back on the menu of all the different presentations, you'll be able to see where the Bachelor of Science presentation will be.
Now, there's a question now from someone who is in currently Japan and asking, I'm in Japan, and do you think I can apply for certificate 4 currently? I would say because of these travel restrictions at the moment, you can apply, but you probably will not be able to travel to Australia to do your courses. There are some courses during the program which you can do online, but of course it will lengthen your program duration. You will not be able to finish the course within a year because we have got quite a few lab-based courses for which you need to be on campus. So you can only do the online courses which are fully delivered online, but not the lab-based courses, Yuri. Tracy, there's another question. It's asking, what is the graduate degree employment rate?
Again, this is
it's a high
question.
Yeah, I think it's a bachelor question. So as we were saying, it will be good to for you guys if you can log on and listen to them, and they would be able to guide you through more. Yes, Yuri, it's really nice. We have been very excited to. So Yuri is writing, that's nice to hear that you can do labs during lockdowns. Yes, we have been very fortunate, and the students are enjoying all the lab sessions that we are doing face to face. So that is our strength, and students do enjoy being on campus. Any other questions? Let's have a look. Anyone has got anything else to ask? Doesn't seem like there is anything more, Tracy. I think we have answered all the questions that was in the chat. I had a quick look. This is your time. If you need to ask anything, ask us, because you will not get us live all the time. Just having a look if there was else. No more new questions, Tracy. That was the
last one. Okay.
Yes.
All right, well, I just want to say thank you very much for attending our presentation today. If we haven't answered all your questions, or if you think of something else, you can still write them in the chat and we'll get back to you at a later time with the answer. And so, yeah, please feel free to use that. And I just want to say thanks again, and we want to wish you all the best in your future endeavours, whatever they may be, wherever you may go. And we hope to see you next year. Thank you. Bye-bye.